Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's your favorite internet Chad wearing a $50 tank top with a $120 haircut just to give you some free advice on food this week. And one of the things I want to nerd out about this week is olive oil. I think that it is an incredibly crucial part of a healthy diet, both for omnivores and for plant-based. So let's talk about what it is, why it's good for you, why you should include it in your diet, and why you've probably never had it before, believe it or not. So I think it's an interesting topic, and I think it deserves a decent amount of respect. So olive oil has been around for millennia. It's been prized by numerous cultures around the world, particularly in the Mediterranean region where olives are plentiful and naturally grown. And it's become a staple in a lot of different cultures' diets, and for good cause. It's one of the healthier fats around, and it has a lot of unique benefits to it. Two things that I think are really beneficial to olive oil is its high amount of oleic acid. It's a monounsaturated fat that is the primary component of what olive oil is made of. And this unsaturated fat has actually been shown in numerous animal studies to raise HDL, which is the good cholesterol that you want more of, as well as lower overall triglycerides. And believe it or not, higher consumptions of olive oil can actually lead to higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids in blood plasma levels, according to the same study. I think this is pretty interesting for plant-based dieters who don't get a lot of omega-3 fatty acid on their own. The main thing about olive oil is it's the best source of a very specific polyphenol called oleocanthal. And this polyphenol is the primary driver of the antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties of olive oil. And I think that in and of itself, it's probably the most beneficial reason to have olive oil in your diet. But I mean, aside from those reasons, it tastes good. And it's a really easy thing to add to a lot of dishes. It pairs well with a lot of different cuisines. So it certainly should warrant being a part of your diet. If you are a student of the longevity sphere, you're probably aware of what's called a blue zone. And these blue zones are located at various parts of the world, but one of the things they have in common is a high consumption of olive oil. Places like Sardinia, Greece, Loma Linda, California. These are cultures that all have a direct correlation between longer lifespan, longer health span, and higher consumptions of olive oil. Now, I can certainly speak for myself in popular culture. It's been around for a long time. With the Food Network boom of the 90s and 2000s, pretty much every celebrity chef or TV chef would cook with exclusively olive oil. And I think that would be great in an ideal world, but it sort of set a false precedent for how much olive oil is actually used. This might be a bit of an unpopular opinion, but I have extensive experience working in multiple restaurants in multiple areas of the country, in multiple types of cuisine. And the fact of the matter is in most commercial restaurant kitchens, legitimate olive oil is rarely used. And the reason why is primarily because it's very expensive. If you buy a legitimately produced extra virgin olive oil that is first harvest, cold pressed, even on the retail market, you're looking at about $30 a liter. And if you think about the volume that most restaurants' kitchens are going to do, that simply just doesn't fit into their margins. Not only that too, plus olive oil does tend to have a bit of a stronger flavor. And so it really can't be used as a primary cooking oil. Oftentimes they're going to need more of a neutral flavored oil, which is why more times canola oil, vegetable oils are used, but you won't really see too much legitimate olive oil in most commercial kitchens. But the problem goes deeper than that, because even on the retail market, believe it or not, roughly 80% of olive oils are counterfeit. It's actually a pretty big business. At one point, the Italian mafia was even involved in this. And so it becomes a very difficult process unless you're really in the know to understand that you're actually buying legitimate extra virgin olive oil. So how do you know? Well, for starters, oftentimes you don't. I'll leave a list in the description below of a few brands that I've used over the years that I know and trust. And if these don't appeal to you, or if the price is too high, I'll give you some pointers as to how to look for an actual bottle of extra virgin olive oil. So one of the easiest ways to tell, especially if you're buying a higher end oil, is to look on the bottle, and there should be a harvest date on the bottle. Olive oil in and of itself is a relatively fragile oil. It's prone to oxidation, and so a lot of producers that really care about the quality of their oil, what they'll do is they'll put the date that the olives were harvested on there so that they can stand by their product better and let you know exactly the age of the olives from tree to bottle. Another phrase to look for too is first harvest and cold pressed. So first harvest refers to the fact that these olives were the first picked in the season. They're the ripest, they're full of the most nutrients. They haven't had a chance to over ripen or spoil. And so that is certainly an important aspect to it, but also cold pressed. So when olive oil is made, it's actually pretty simple relative to other oils. So a cold pressed oil will simply have the olives being put between typically stone wheels, or they'll use steel as well. And they essentially just crush the fruit, releasing the oils. And that way they're minimally processed. This minimal processing allows the oils to be at their purest form. Now, there is more oil that can be extracted. You can use the waste from the first press, and you can apply heat, you can apply hexane. There are various methods of processing that can actually get more oil out of it. Now, obviously they can make more money out of this, but the problem then becomes is that these oils are of lesser quality. Oftentimes they can have pro-oxidants in them. They can even contain things like acrylamides from the high heat. So it's something that, again, if you really want to invest in a proper oil, first harvest, cold pressed olive oil with the harvest date on the bottle is going to be the best way to go. So olive oil should have a deep amber, almost a bit of a greenish tint to it. It should be a little bit cloudy, ideally, especially if it hasn't been filtered. And it should have a sort of a peppery taste, particularly in the back note. That's how you know that the olive oil that you have is full of that polyphenol oleocanthanol that is very powerful. Now, being that olive oil is a monounsaturated fat, particularly high in oleic acid, it is a very fragile oil. So if you are going to use olive oil in your diet, I recommend not cooking with it. Don't heat it. Don't saute with it. Don't fry it. Don't give it a chance to develop pro-oxidants and acrylamides and all these different things. Use it as a finishing oil. And use it sparingly too, because it's not as easily convertible into energy as a short-chain butyric acid or like a medium-chain triglyceride found in coconut oil. Those fats are easily converted into energy and aren't stored, but long-chain fatty acids require a bit more processing by your body. So even though olive oil is incredibly healthy and has had a lot of proven longevity benefits, it's best not to overdo it. So use a good quality olive oil as a finishing oil to any of your dishes, meats, fish, poultry, vegetables, salads, anything like that. And yeah, it'll be great. Yeah, I think olive oil is a very powerful thing. I think it's a very important part of anybody's diet. I think that it is one of the healthiest fats, both for its fatty acid content as well as its polyphenol content. I think it should be used often. I think it should be used a lot. This video is utter dog shit. I'm not happy with it, but I'm going to put it out anyways. I think it's important to at least talk about olive oil. You know what it is. I don't think I did a good job of explaining it, but olive oil is good for you. It has peppery taste and it tastes good, and cultures that eat it are very healthy. And oleic acid and oleocanthanol and triglycerides being low, HDL being high, yada yada, whatever. This video sucks. So roast me in the comments. Tell me how shitty it is. I look forward to hearing about it. You know, perfect is the enemy of good, I guess. Here it is, but shit, it's almost fucking midnight. I want to go to bed. I didn't do this all day. I've been procrastinating it, and so here you go. Eat your olive oil, kids. Love ya.